Hi, welcome to Clark's Place. Gonna work on the trunk deck for the Daytona today. Got the other one side sanded, and the next thing I'm going to do is I've started, but I thought I better record this. Starting to cut in order to put this extension piece on here. Not really an extension, it's a shortened piece. You can see this lines up with the grooves, and this is to shorten this trunk deck. As you can see, it's going to cut quite a few inches off because the Daytona has the window plug put in, and it comes, you know, the trunk stops probably right in here. Well, the fastback for the Daytonas and the Charger 500s come way down. Here, you can't see it in there, but it comes way down to where this trunk area is shorter, and you have a longer throw trunk hinge, which we have that already modified, but you have to cut off the trunk. So you just take a good trunk and you cut all this off. So I have measured back how far it needs to be. So it's going to be kind of a ragged cut here to start, but then I'll trim all that up, and hopefully this will go over the edge and hides any rough cut. But you can see this doesn't, my cutter doesn't cut all the way through, and so I won't be all the way through the top side, which this is my mark I'm going for. So I'm trying to extend it a little bit past, just to make sure that I do have enough room to fit it. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do now, is to cut this and see where we go. When you lift it up, you can hear that there's stuff in the trunk, just probably from corrosion. But I think once I cut this, I'll be able to pick it up, shake it, and get anything that's loose on the inside out. And I can even get up in there and spray with some black undercoating or paint and actually seal all that inside, so there won't be any surface rust inside. At least it may stop it. You know, the POR stuff or whatever, I think is what I'll use on that. But anyway, let's get the time lapse going, and hopefully it becomes a clean cut. Hey, welcome to Clark's Place. Today I'm going to do some filling in around the plug that we just put in the last video. It's all set up now, doing great. The panel bond really worked well, got rock hard. Anyway, I'm going to grind all the edge here where I'm going to be putting wiping some of the fiberglass, like I think it's called Duraglass, whatever that we have. And to fill this in, because this is all got to be finished, then I'll do Bondo probably over the outside of that for the finer sanding. But I'll fill that in. There's a few places here I want to put some Bondo as well, or some Duraglass to make it a little stronger to fill it. But first thing I'm going to do is cut all the black off of these quarters and around the top, so it has bare metal to adhere to. So put it on time lapse and go to it. Okay, I think I have everything ready. What I did is ground back along here, so this is bare metal. So as I wipe, this has to all just flow together. And I want to fill this with fiberglass, Duraglass, and it needs to have the bare metal to stick to it better. This will all get filled too. And then the rest of this top, which had probably a vinyl top on it, it's got some glue. That'll all have to be sanded, the whole top. So I'll sand up to this Duraglass and go from there. But all the panel bond that we have in here, there's a little bit sticking out here. You really can't see it, but boy, it is just hard as a rock. And it's really going to hold. This is not ever going to come off that I can tell. But I'm going to mix up some Duraglass now and start putting it in a few places. So that'll be next. Try to get some work done on the back of the Daytona, especially around the tail lights. They need a lot of work. What I've done is, it was on the rotisserie. There's the bar, the bolts in where the bumper goes. But now I have it on some wood blocks on 2 pump-up tables. Best thing I had, I've got taller things, but nothing that's strong enough to hold it, because this area here was all blocked by that bar and all these welds, which most of them need to be revisited. I don't know, maybe if I had trouble getting to them, but they need filled in more, so I'm going to fill those in more. These down here need to be ground off. I need to do some spot welding to fill all this in, and then also up here I've got to do some fabrication. I have some pieces I've been playing with, get the angle right. It's not a perfect 90, and fit that up underneath, weld, fill those in. Although you can use the copper pieces These are magnets, as you can see, and they can be put underneath here, and then you can spot weld by just pecking at it to fill those in, and it doesn't stick to the copper. So I don't know which way I'm going to do yet. May let my son Chris play around doing it. He welds, I think, a lot better than me, so I may do that. But I am going to get these all ground off here today and go from there. So I'll put it on time lapse and we'll go from there. So enjoy. Okay, been doing a lot of sanding, cutting, getting things set up to weld, grinding on this rear end on the Daytona. What I ended up doing, putting jack stands under the frame, and then I've also got the 2 pump-up tables just as a safety. Got most of this ground off. Going to refill a lot of those welds and fill these as well. Got a lot of copper in here to fill these so it won't stick, and then recreated. It's got a lip to it by just bending some metal. And same here, since that was, I cut off the bad, a little bit of rust. This had some rust, so I cut that off. We'll weld that, and then we'll grind it off. Up here, took the piece that was cut out, trimmed it so it matches these, and a piece on top as well that we'll weld this, then grind it, and make it all nice and flush. I also, since this is, I have a piece of wood holding that up because this was a little low, so jack that up, which that's why I took that fiberglass out of there. I'll put some more in once we get this set. But then you can't really see it, but down in there is a ledge of this material. This here, it's identical to this. That's under there and held in with a clamp. I don't think you can see it, but we'll get inside the trunk. We'll weld that up so that has something to go to, and I'll probably drill a hole and maybe put a rivet. Definitely we'll put some panel bond down in there before we weld it, but just getting it all set up here. We'll put panel bond on this as well, and that'll take care of that. I did start sanding with some 80 grit, and I wiped it down with prep saw to take all the glue, anything that might be on it. But it seems to be sanding. There's little white, or not white, little dark spots that I don't know if that's just imperfections in the metal. Of course, it'll all get mini coats of primer, which will be block sanded, you know, 600, 800, 1200, all the way down before any paint. There's a good example of the, and you can feel those, it's like little chips in that black paint, which I've heard almost everybody say, get that black off of the panels, which I've got a lot to do. Started sanding up here. Looks like a lot of this bumpy stuff is where it has corroded. So gonna be a lot of sanding there. A lot of sanding. This this looks pretty weak. So that'll have to come off, recreate that, grind all this out, and probably cut this back some to get the rain gutter, I think that's what they call it. But I haven't checked the other side. It might be just as bad. Hopefully not. Yeah, it's not the greatest either. And lots and lots of goobers and welds, and so probably have to grind a bunch of this, make sure that's all good up underneath there. I think they did the work, and then maybe it's set under a tarp or set outside. There's not a lot of rust on the panels, the new panels they put in here, so maybe it was just on a tarp and it got moisture. So anyway, that's what I've gotten done today, and I'll probably do some more video as soon as we get to welding on it, which may be tomorrow. So everybody have a nice Thanksgiving, and we'll post some more videos later. Bye-bye.
All right, today we're going to continue with what Pop's already started in another video. I think you showed grinding all this down.
Grinding it off.
Cleaning up, which it looks a lot better, but there's holes, and all of these welds are just kind of like just tacks.
Yeah.
So we're going to fill in all the welds and make sure all this doesn't just pop off.
And the way they cut out the old, they really destroyed. There wasn't enough to really weld to, but we can fill in, he can fill in a lot of this.
So I'm going to try some detail welding and turn down the temperature on it to maybe, this is all 18 gauge steel, so I'll turn it down to maybe 20,
yeah,
or something like that, so I'm not burning through everything, and try to fill that in, and then we'll come back over and grind over the top of it. Hopefully get all this pretty flat.
We've got a couple screws in here too. We can take those out and weld.
Or I might take a screw out and clamp it and hold and like weld those screw holes.
But I think I've already welded.
Oh, have it?
Just the two screws left there, and I think there's a screw.
Oh, we'll take those out and weld up the holes.
Yep.
So that's on today's continuation episode.
I'm gonna put it on time lapse. This little belt sander will do a real nice job. I've ground off almost all of these, the big welds, and it's just almost done. I want to do the final, make it nice and smooth with this. I don't want to take it too far with the big grinders because that's you're going to need to fill it. So anyway, I'll put it on time lapse and we'll go from there.
Alright, so it looks like you've got pretty much a lot of the grinding done, and we're at a pretty good...
Got a thin layer of Duraglass, fiberglass stuff in there, really for the strength. Do a little more sanding on that.
A little bit more, like I see a little dot, a little place that it's burned through there.
Yep.
But overall, that looks like pretty good.
These are all ground.
Just gouged my finger.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But yeah, I still need to do a little bit of sand in there. We're kind of gotten this. We used Chris's little quarter extensions put on there, and they seem to be fitting real nice. So
yeah, close enough. But we'll custom fit yours.
Oh yeah.
But you haven't even bought any for this yet.
Yeah. But I just kind of filled in some rough areas.
We got to fill in the 68.
Oh, that's right. That'll have to be welded.
That needs cleanup welding on aisle 3.
Oh yeah, that needs a lot, because we had to. This was a 68 quarter. That was a 69 quarter.
Yep.
And he had 68 taillights in it, because I think he was making it a 68.
Yep.
So I'm putting it back where it should be, 69.
Yep.
So yeah, this is all looking good.
Getting there.
Getting better. There. All the little nubs and stuff have been sanded, and I'll hit it some more. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do. Yep.
Well, you'll see all of that in upcoming videos. I think you even showed some videos of you sanding the quarter down too, just
maybe
to kind of see how bad it looks.
Yeah.
But I think that's a pretty good stopping point to put all the videos out on the tail work. I don't think it's anything super exciting that you're doing, but it is. No. I mean, it is kind of related to all this. Did you do a video on documenting this? I haven't seen it yet.
Don't know, because it's all the way around. That's the deep layer of
yeah, he did all the heavy duty fiberglass,
and then that'll all get filled over with some lighter regular Bondo, softer stuff.
Yeah, U-pole.
But this U-pole
gold. Yeah. But yeah, you got
what I did was
the same height now.
This was down lower, and we used this to prop it up, which now it stays up on its own. But right here we put a little L bracket underneath, and then I drilled down through and put 2 big rivets.
Yeah, I don't know if we filmed all that.
No, I don't think I filmed that. And then covered over that, so that took care of all this, and I can start shaping all this now.
Yep.
So yeah, it all looks good. The next big thing will be getting the trunk deck on here, getting any tweaking I've got to do for the length, because that's not set yet.
Get your hinge stopper on the right one. so it doesn't get into the back of this
Yes.
with the hinges.
Get the hinges out here and
Get them mounted
start
to the
forming
trunk
it up.
deck.
Yeah, get them mounted to the trunk deck, which I think there's a piece in the Janet kit that mounts to the bottom.
Yeah, I
I'll have
haven't
to
seen
look
it,
at all
but
my stuff and
I thought
find
you
it.
said that. All right, cool.
Got to play with the new tool too.
Oh yeah.
We got the new Milwaukee grease gun,
Let's see
and
how that does.
we'll see how that does. Want some grease? So we didn't have any of the big tube grease, so
Yeah, happy birthday.
yeah, we'll play with that too.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay.
Hopefully we
should do
don't
it.
end up with grease all over our fingers like usual.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.